Stoicism and money, how to build wealth without becoming its servant. Money is one of the most powerful tools human beings have created. It can provide safety, freedom, education, comfort, and opportunity. It can help us support our families, pursue meaningful work, and contribute to causes larger than ourselves. But money can also become a source of fear, obsession, envy, and endless dissatisfaction. The problem is not necessarily wealth itself. The problem begins when wealth stops being something we use and becomes something that controls us. The ancient Stoics understood this danger remarkably well. Philosophers such as Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius lived in a world very different from ours, yet they faced many of the same questions. How much money is enough? Is it wrong to desire wealth? Can a person be financially ambitious and still live a virtuous life? How do we enjoy success without becoming dependent on it? Stoicism does not teach us to reject money. It teaches us to put money in its proper place. The Stoic goal is not poverty. It is freedom, the kind of freedom that comes from being able to possess wealth without being possessed by it. Money is a preferred indifferent. To understand the Stoic view of money, we first need to understand the idea of a preferred indifferent. The Stoics divided life into two broad categories. The first category contains the things that are genuinely good: wisdom, courage, justice, self-control, and moral character. The second category contains external things such as wealth, health, reputation, comfort, and social status. The Stoics called these things indifferents, not because they believed they were meaningless, but because they do not determine whether a person is good or whether a life is worth living. Money can be useful. Health is preferable to illness. A comfortable home is usually preferable to sleeping in the cold. These things may be preferred, but they are not the highest good. A wealthy person can be dishonest, anxious, cruel, and miserable. A person with modest resources can be honorable, peaceful, generous, and deeply fulfilled. Money changes what you can purchase. It does not automatically improve who you are. This distinction allows us to pursue financial success without confusing it with moral success. You may prefer to have money, but you should not believe that your worth depends on it. You may work to increase your income, but you should not sacrifice your principles to do so. You may enjoy comfort, but you should remain capable of living without luxury. This is the foundation of a Stoic relationship with wealth. Build wealth for freedom, not for approval. Many people claim that they want money because they want freedom. But when we examine their behavior, they are often pursuing something else: recognition. They want the expensive car because they imagine how others will react. They want the larger house because it communicates status. They want a certain job title because it sounds impressive when introduced at a dinner party. This is not financial freedom. It is dependence on public opinion. Epictetus taught that we become enslaved whenever we place our happiness in something controlled by others. Reputation is controlled by others. Social approval is controlled by others. The image people have of us is controlled by others. When money is used primarily to impress people, wealth becomes another form of submission. You work longer hours to maintain an image. You purchase things you do not need. You compare yourself with people whose private struggles you cannot see. Your lifestyle becomes more expensive, but your inner life becomes more fragile. A Stoic builds wealth for practical reasons. To reduce unnecessary dependence. To create time for meaningful work. To protect a family from predictable difficulties. To avoid being forced into dishonest or degrading choices. To help others. To live according to personal values rather than social pressure. This does not mean you cannot enjoy beautiful things. It means you should understand why you want them. Before making an expensive purchase, ask yourself: would I still want this if nobody else ever saw it? That question can reveal the difference between genuine enjoyment and the desire for validation. Focus on what you can control. One of the central teachings of Stoicism is the dichotomy of control. Some things are within our control. Other things are not. We control our decisions, effort, discipline, preparation, judgment, and response to events. We do not fully control economic conditions, market performance, inflation, interest rates, company decisions, unexpected illness, or the behavior of other people. Financial anxiety often comes from trying to control the second category while neglecting the first. You cannot guarantee that every investment will rise. You can control whether you research it carefully and avoid risking money you cannot afford to lose. You cannot guarantee permanent employment. You can control whether you continue developing useful skills, maintaining professional relationships, and building an emergency fund. You cannot control every unexpected expense. You can control whether your lifestyle leaves room for uncertainty. A Stoic financial strategy is based on preparation rather than prediction. Instead of asking, "How can I make sure nothing goes wrong?" ask, "How can I become more capable of responding when something does?" This shift is powerful because complete financial certainty does not exist. Even enormous wealth cannot eliminate uncertainty. It can only change its form. A disciplined person with reasonable savings may feel more secure than a millionaire whose lifestyle requires constant growth. Security comes partly from resources, but it also comes from adaptability. Practice voluntary discomfort. Seneca, who was himself extremely wealthy, sometimes practiced living with very little. He would eat simple food, wear rough clothing, and temporarily give up comfort. While doing so, he would ask whether this was the condition he had feared so much. This practice is known as voluntary discomfort. Its purpose is not to glorify suffering. Its purpose is to reduce fear. Many people become servants of money because they are terrified of losing their current lifestyle. They cannot risk changing careers because their expenses are too high. They cannot challenge an unethical employer because they depend completely on the salary. They cannot rest because every luxury has become a necessity. Voluntary discomfort reminds us that we are more adaptable than we think. You might occasionally choose a simple meal instead of an expensive one. Spend a weekend without shopping. Delay a non-essential purchase. Use something you already own rather than immediately upgrading it. These small exercises develop financial resilience. They teach you that discomfort is survivable, desire is temporary, and convenience is not the same as happiness. A person who needs luxury is not truly wealthy. That person must constantly protect the conditions on which their comfort depends. A person who can enjoy luxury but remain content without it possesses a deeper form of wealth. Control desire before increasing income. Modern financial advice often focuses entirely on earning more. Increasing income is valuable, but income alone does not create financial peace. Without control over desire, every increase in income produces a corresponding increase in expectations. A person earns more and upgrades the apartment. Then the car. Then the wardrobe. Then the holidays. Soon, the larger income feels just as insufficient as the smaller one did. This is lifestyle inflation. The Stoics would recognize it as the endless expansion of desire. Seneca observed that poverty is not simply having too little. It is wanting more than you need. This does not mean ambition is wrong. It means ambition must have boundaries. Otherwise, the finish line moves every time you approach it. Define what enough means for you. How much do you need for basic security? What level of comfort genuinely improves your life? Which expenses support your values, and which ones merely satisfy comparison or habit? What would financial independence allow you to do that matters? Without a definition of enough, wealth becomes an endless game in which every victory immediately creates a new requirement. A Stoic does not eliminate all desire. A Stoic examines desire. Some desires deserve to be pursued. Others deserve to be questioned. Make character part of your financial plan. Most financial plans include income targets, savings rates, investments, retirement goals, and debt repayment. A Stoic financial plan should also include character. How will you earn your money? What will you refuse to do for profit? How will you treat employees, customers, colleagues, and competitors? Will greater wealth make you more generous or more protective? Will you tell the truth when dishonesty would be profitable? Wealth gained through injustice carries a hidden cost. You may acquire money while losing self-respect. You may gain status while becoming unable to trust the people around you. You may achieve financial success while damaging your family, health, or integrity. Marcus Aurelius repeatedly reminded himself that the quality of our lives depends on the quality of our actions. Money is not separate from character. Every financial decision is also an ethical decision. The question is not only, will this make me richer? It is also, what kind of person will this decision make me? No amount of money can compensate for becoming someone you despise. Use wealth generously. Stoicism teaches that human beings are social creatures. We are not isolated individuals competing only for personal advantage. We are members of families, communities, and a wider human society. Therefore, wealth should not serve only the self. Generosity does not require giving away everything you own. It means recognizing that money becomes more meaningful when it supports something beyond personal consumption. You can help family members responsibly. Support worthwhile organizations. Pay people fairly. Invest in useful businesses. Teach others what you have learned. Give your time as well as your money. Generosity also weakens the fear that often accompanies wealth. The more tightly we hold money, the more terrified we become of losing it. Giving reminds us that money is a tool in motion, not a sacred object to be guarded at all costs. It also prevents wealth from shrinking our moral world. The goal is not to become someone who asks, how much can I accumulate? The better question is, how much good can I do with what I have? Remember that wealth is temporary. The Stoics regularly reflected on impermanence. Everything external can change. Markets collapse. Businesses fail. Possessions deteriorate. Fortunes are divided. Political systems shift. Life itself is temporary. This may sound pessimistic, but the purpose of remembering impermanence is not despair. It is gratitude and perspective. When you know that something is temporary, you appreciate it without assuming it belongs to you forever. Enjoy your home, but remember that a home is not your identity. Use your income wisely, but remember that your job title is not your identity. Build investments, but remember that your account balance is not your identity. Your identity should rest in qualities that remain available even when circumstances change: judgment, courage, patience, integrity, and self-command. Wealth can be taken from you. Character can only be surrendered. The Stoic definition of financial success. From a Stoic perspective, financial success is not simply having the largest number in an account. It is having enough resources to live responsibly while remaining mentally independent from those resources. It is being able to pursue wealth without betraying your values. It is being comfortable without becoming soft, ambitious without becoming greedy, and generous without becoming reckless. It is preparing for the future while still living in the present. It is owning possessions without allowing possessions to define you. Build wealth carefully. Save consistently. Invest intelligently. Develop valuable skills. Avoid unnecessary debt. Protect yourself against predictable risks. But while doing all of this, remember the deeper objective. The goal is not to spend your entire life serving money in the hope that money will eventually give you freedom. The goal is to develop the wisdom and discipline that allow you to remain free at every stage of the journey. Money should support your life. Your life should never be reduced to supporting your money.